Hello students, hope you all are doing well and enjoying your studies. So in our previous class we have studied about the reproduction, that is what is your chapter organisms reproduction, what is variation and what is the heredity characters transmission. We have also gone through about the types of reproduction and their characteristic features. So today let us start with the asexual mode of reproduction. So this is asexual reproduction. Alright, now you know that in asexual reproduction only one parent is required. There is no formation of gamete, no fertilization happens, and it is of different types like fragmentation, regeneration, then there is a spore formation, there is the division of nuclei. So many things are over here in this asexual mode of reproduction. So now let us start with this asexual mode of reproduction, which tells about the only one parents required. So now this asexual reproduction is divided into many parts. For example, fission. In fission there is a division of the nuclei. Then we are having regeneration. Then after we are having fragmentation. We are having spore formation. We are having budding system. And then we'll also study about the vegetative propagation, and this happens in the plants. Alright. So we'll study in this chapter about the fission, budding, regeneration, fragmentation, spore and vegetative propagation of the plants. So let us start with the first part of it, that is your fission. Fission, that means division. Alright. Fission is of two types. One of its type is the binary fission. Let us see this with the example. Binary fission's example is the amoeba. You know that amoeba is having a irregular shape. Now this amoeba is having a nuclei in between. Now what happens when this amoeba matures? It divides from its nuclei into two daughter nuclei cells. So now if it divides like this, now this nucleus part is over here and this nucleus part is over here, right? So now this is going to develop two different organisms or two different individuals of amoeba itself. Same way, further, if this single amoeba when matures, this also gets divided from here, so this is also going to make four parts of it, and same way here. So total from one amoeba you are watching that four amoebas has been made, right? This is one type of a reproduction which happens in binary fission, and this is the fission asexual kind of. So now because this is from one single organism, they multiply in so many number of, that is why they are also called as a immortal. Immortal, that means that can never die. Why it can never die? Because one parental cell, you can see it is going in so many children, right? So just one single cell. So that is why they are called as the immortal one. Okay. Now let us see the another example. So this was the binary fission. Second type is the multiple fission. Multiple fission. Multiple fissions, one of the example is plasmodium. This plasmodium which we are studying is one of the example of the mosquito's spore gamete fertilized one, which is responsible for causing malaria. Now what happens in this, when they reproduces, at that time there is a formation of a cyst, like a water pouch kind of. Now this is having a lot of cells in it, which is called as the plasmodium, and they all are having their own protective coverings and surrounding. Now as the favorable time comes for this and it gets mature, its fertilization is over, its development time comes, after its maturation it gets ruptured. So what happens, this cyst gets ruptured from one place and these all comes out. So as they are coming many in number, it is called as a multiple fission, and because it has got divided from here, so that is why it is multiple fission, and so many are coming outside, so multiple it is. So this is after multiplication, after division, after coming out of it, they are going to spread the disease. Okay, so this is one of the example of the multiple fission. Now let us see about the budding system. Budding means the bud, outgrowth. So let me remove this also, then only I will have the place to explain you. So budding is again of two different types. One, budding is external, and the another one is internal. So we are going to study about the external budding and we are going to study about the internal budding too. So let us see external budding. External budding, one of the example is hydra. Okay, so let us see that what this hydra says. Now what happens, for example, if this one is a hydra, it's developing. When it matures, on any place on its body, there is a bud kind of a structure formed. This kind of a structure forms, and when this bud gets a bit mature, it gets fragmented from here and it floats away, and wherever it goes, it is able and capable of making another individual. Same way as amoebas, all the sections were able to make. Plasmodiums, all the plasmodiums after rupturing, when they go off, they are able to make its own individual. Same way, it's all whatever outgrowths it is developing on its body surface after rupturing, after getting fragmented from here, wherever they will go, they will be able to make its own kind of individual. So this is one of the example of external kind of budding. Now let us see internal kind of budding. One of the example for internal kind of budding is your yeast. So it's one of the example is yeast. Let's just see that what happens in the yeast. For example, this is the yeast body. Okay, now in its body, one of its cell will start developing like this. Okay, it is not an outgrowth appendage as hydra was developing outgrowth. From inside the body only it is developing and it is dividing itself, it is swelling up, and now this internal bud which is from inside the body, it will get fragmented from here, and wherever it will be going, it will be able to make another yeast individual. What are the difference? Now let us see further. Fragmentation, now we have to see, we did with the fission, we did budding. Now let us see third one, regeneration. Okay, so for regeneration, one of its example is the Spirogyra. So let us see Spirogyra. Spirogyra is a kind of a algae. Alright, now let us see what happens in the Spirogyra. So regeneration we are talking about. So regeneration is Hydra. Apart from Hydra, for regeneration there is a Planaria too. So let us see about the Planaria. Planaria looks somewhat like this. Now what happens in the Planaria? Suppose this is the Planaria's body. Now what happened that this Planaria gets divided. Just for an example, it gets divided from 3 different parts. Okay, so this is the upper part, and this one is the middle part, and this one is the lower part. Let's write down upper part, middle part and lower part. Okay, now in regeneration, this Planaria is having ability to develop its lost body part. Suppose this lower section is there. So now this lower part will be able to develop its middle section as well as its upper section too. So this is the regeneration. That means to regenerate its lost body part. One of the example with this only you can understand it with how lizards stay, if it's shed off once, you will see that another after some time lizard has again regenerated its tail. One of the example is our liver. Our liver also regenerates itself. Okay, so regeneration means to develop the lost body part is your regeneration, to regain or to regenerate it again. Okay, now let us see the fragmentation. Fragmentation means to divide in fragments, यानी टुकड़ों में बट जाना. So if you are finding that organism has got divided in टुकड़ों में बट गया, so that is your fragmentation. Now this fragmentation happens in the algae which is called as a Spirogyra. So what happens if this is Spirogyra and somehow this Spirogyra has divided into 3 different parts. Okay, so this is my Spirogyra, and this is the first part of it, this is the second part of it, and this is the third part of my Spirogyra which has got divided. Now the thing is, it's each and every part will be able to mature. This part is complete body. Same way this part, same way this part. Each 3 parts are completely developed. Generally it is asked that what is the difference between regeneration and fragmentation. So fragmentation is, it's all the fragmented part of the organism is complete body part, is complete organism. Whereas in regeneration, the lost body parts are developed or regenerated by the organism. Alright, so this is one of the differentiation among them. Next we are having spore formation. So this one was the 4th and this one is the 5th. Alright, so let us see that what is the spore formation. Spore formations, one of the example we'll see with the Rhizopus. Rhizopus is a kind of fungi and spore formation generally takes place in the fungi only. Rhizopus we also call as the bread mold. So when you say about the bread mold, when you see on your slice of a bread some white greenish substance is there, that is actually rhizopus has developed over there. Same thing on the chapatis too, you can see. So that is a rhizopus. So let us see that how in rhizopus this reproduction takes place. So what happens, for example, if this is the rhizopus, its hyphae. So at here, inside this there will be lots of sporangiums. Okay, so now in this sporangium, when it will mature, it will get ruptured from any one place of it, and these spores which are there, and this is the sporangium. Now from the inside the sporangium a lot of spores are there. So after its maturation this will get ruptured and these spores will come out, and each and every one is responsible for making another rhizopus. This kind of a reproduction through spores is called as spore formation or spore kind of a asexual reproduction or spore reproduction, right? Now let us see about the vegetative propagation. This vegetative propagation happens in the plants. Alright, so in plants, if you are watching that a bud has come on the potato and that bud is cut off and then is planted, that is a kind of a vegetative propagation. You see cutting. You do with rose plants cutting you make, like if rose is there, you just cut its one of the stem and you just sow it, right? And you find that another rose plant is coming out of it. So that is one of the example of the vegetative propagation. Same way, you see several times, for example, there is a bryophyllum. Bryophyllum is a plant which it develops its root and another leaf in its body itself. Suppose this is a leaf of a bryophyllum. Now what will happen? On its surface, a small leaf structure will develop and it will also develop its root. This part is enough and it will be further able to make the new part or the new plant individual of its own kind. That is also a kind of a vegetative propagation. You might have seen, this is the grafting. You might have seen some people cutting down stem like this, overlapping another kind of a stem on this and tie this. This kind of a structure is called as grafting, and this is done. For example, two different kinds of mangoes have done by the grafting in one plant only. Now in one plant only, half of the plant will give you the shahriam and half of it will give you haposam. So that is just because of the grafting possible. So these are some kinds of vegetative propagation. Apart from this, these are the natural kind of, or these are the some vegetative propagation. Apart from this, there is a tissue culture too. So we studied bud, cutting, bryophyllum where root develops in the plant itself, and then we have gone through the grafting. Now let us see tissue culture. Tissue cultures are done in the laboratory where a tissue from any of the plant is extracted and developed in a culture media inside a laboratory, and further that tissue, because of the help of that culture media, starts developing into the callus, and that callus gives birth to a new baby plant. and after some time that new baby plant, when it develops a bit more, you can take it out from there and you can sow in your garden or in a pot. Now I used a word, culture media. What is it? Culture media is actually having all the nutrients, all the minerals, all the required elements for a tissue to get developed into the callus and a new baby plant. That is your culture media. So this kind of activity we do in our laboratories. So we have gone through fission, binary fission, multiple fission. We have gone through budding, external budding, internal budding, regeneration. We have gone to fragmentation, spore formation of the fungi, vegetative propagation which happens in the plants, in that bud, cutting, bryophyllum is one which develops its root, grafting, tissue culture. So this is all about the asexual mode of reproduction. Hope you have understood all the things well. So enjoy with your studies. We'll meet in the next video. Thank you.